We would like to begin this meeting by acknowledging that we are gathered on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territories of the Inkakatma and Silk people. Has everyone had a chance to read the minutes? Adoption of minutes? Your first and second? Linda? Gail, second? All in favor? Good. Carried. General matters, delegations and recognitions. Do we have any delegations? No. Okay. Unfinished business, age-friendly and accessibility tracker. This is what's included in here. I don't know if everyone has had a chance to read it. How up to date is this? Is it?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, the reason I asked that was because I saw Jana Heffernan down here on Saturday. Yeah, and so I thought, well, that's that one hasn't been updated, that one. So did we want to go through each Linda? Pardon me? Oh, great, I didn't do that. So did we want to take each item on the recommended recommendation and action plan and quickly go through it? Okay. So the very first one, 5.1, recommendation and action plan, develop volunteer programs to combat social isolation of seniors. This is offered through the umbrella of Services of Better at Home. The challenge has been with gathering volunteers who are interested in providing this service. Staff promote Better at Home search for volunteers through city media channels. There was action taken on October 3, 2024. Volunteers have been recruited. Do we know how many volunteers were recruited? I did push it.
Okay, we are live. There we go. So if you bump over to status, Better at Homes, October 31st, 2024, gave us an update on
Okay.
They've got 2 fully onboarded and 3 additional waiting satisfactory criminal record checks.
Okay. Do we know how, Judith's not here, it's too bad, how they are recruiting their volunteers and how are they picking citizens from the community? Do we know any of that?
I'm unsure, but if you'd like, I can take that question forward to Judy after.
Sure, that'd
Okay.
be great. Great. Any other discussions on that one?
Can I just add that the Merritt Senior Center, they also do a call out every month. They, not necessarily a wellness one, but it is for their meetings and whatever's going on. And well, I have part of the list. I always ask them how you are when they answer the phone, right? So they do call roughly 100 people anyways a month. It's all seniors, right?
Okay.
So just to let you know.
Okay, that's good to know. 5.2 Reading Buddies. School district has a one-to-one reading program. The school board could be encouraged to host an information session at Gillis House or Florentine to advise seniors what opportunities are available for volunteering. And this is where I saw Jana Heffernan to contact school board to ask if there is a want or need for the city to assist in recruiting volunteers for this program through city media channels. And there is no status, so I assume this one has not been carried through.
I do know last year that there was an active program out at Nicola Campford, where some seniors were reading to the children, but I don't know the full extent. I could look into that.
Okay.
Because I do believe it might be actively running. Just
okay, do you want to target just Nicola Canford, or do we want to go through the board to contact all schools to see if they've?
Yeah, we could do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so that one's going to be, we're going to check on that one. Any other discussions on that one? 5.4, sharing local knowledge. The city library or museum could coordinate a speaker series for the fall or winter season. Ideas included videotape locals sharing their stories and create database to be shared on social media. Action taken, staff to speak with the Nicola Valley Museum coordinator to encourage development of such a program. So this was updated on October 31st. So the BAH would be interested in partnering for hosting such events starting in December 2024. They will be hosting a Saturday senior social at the ICS, that's Interior Community Services, on the first 3 Saturdays of each month. There is space for knowledge sharing in person and online. Do you have any discussions on that one? Updates, further updates? No? Is this all through Cameron? Do we know? Is Cameron doing this? 'Cause he is the coordinator. I think he is the coordinator.
Thank you, Chair. So Cameron, he is with our museum and archives. And Better at Home, it was Amanda Preisner Dunn, who was the former coordinator there. They do, I believe, have a new coordinator. So we would have to check with the new coordinator to find out if for Better at Home to see what programs they're offering.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you. 5.6, after school work programs. Better at Homes is implementing a program to provide grocery pickup for seniors. Meal prep and delivery is not a program that is being developed by Better at Home. The committee inquired if NVIT catering students would provide meals for seniors. Action taken, city list. This is a possible future grant incentive. The committee inquired if NVIT catering students could provide meals for seniors. So the update again on the 31st from Better at Homes as the friendly phone calls visits program develops. The next plan is to investigate the need and the most efficient way to develop a grocery shopping delivery program that would be largely done by volunteers. The Saturday senior social will be providing a light lunch. There will be an option to eat at the event or take the food to go. Any discussions on this one? Bill?
I was just wondering if there really is a need for grocery shopping anymore, because I think we have a pickup service at both of the grocery stores, or all 3 of them.
Do you have to pay for that?
I don't know. Good question. I don't think so. I don't think so. The store just does it and then you pick it up, right? I'm not
Oh,
sure.
pickup, yeah.
Yeah, so we're pickup. So I'm thinking that the shopping part is
See-
probably taken care of now since COVID, right?
But this is a delivery.
Yeah, so the delivery part is the one that
Yeah,
I think needs to be addressed, right?
yeah. Yeah, because a lot of them can't get out, especially when we start getting into the winter where they can't get out.
Yeah.
So the delivery, I think, is the key word there. So maybe we can look into that. Linda?
Don't we have DoorDash here now? And they basically will deliver from anywhere nearly, but they do charge. Yeah, they do charge,
Mhm.
Yeah. but at
Yeah.
least it's an option.
I'm not too sure. I think it's 15%. I'm not too sure what it is, but I don't think some seniors can afford that. Okay, 5.7, National Seniors Day. Proclaim annually and cultural session by Seniors Association. Consider establishing a budget for 2022. Okay, this is way out of date for the Senior Center and committee to organize an event and explore options for approaching other organizations to develop programs for specific events. So it was being forwarded to council, and October 31st, the Better at Homes. They are interested in collaborating if events, community awareness take place. Any discussions on this one? No?
I probably just think we just have to talk with, oh dear, what's her name? with Better Home.
Judith
Better-
Myron?
Yeah,
Judith?
Judith, to see what that would entail, right? And see what we should wait and talk to her maybe about it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because I
Uh,
don't know what programs we could develop and,
I don't even know when National Seniors Day is.
no, I don't either.
I don't have a clue.
That'd be nice.
I see Linda's looking that up. Okay, so we got a while to do this one. So maybe that's something that we could look towards as a group, maybe getting something organized for and publicity for Seniors Day, make it mhm. Sure. Okay. 5.8, Community Garden in Central Business District. The city is exploring parklets and vertical gardens. Nothing and nothing. Is there an interest for this? We do have a garden at the Spirit Square, do we not? At the back? Isn't there a garden, community garden back there? Linda?
Thank you. Yes, as part of the community policing office, there is a community garden just behind it that is maintained by the city and is an opportunity for residents to come and enjoy that park space. I believe coming out of COVID or during COVID, there was funding, et cetera, for, because this is a few years old, but there was funding and planning had at that time been exploring the option for little parklets throughout the community. That was, I believe, before the flood though. I don't know what's happened since then.
Do we as a committee want to pursue this and see what the city can do with having little parklets with benches? We're looking at money here. The city's not flush. But is there an interest to see what could be done? Yeah.
Well, I'm wondering if there is a community garden now, which there wasn't before, like the one down community policing station right there.
Mhm.
There wasn't when we were looking at this before. So I think that maybe fills the need that we were looking at.
Okay.
So maybe until there seems to be more need, I think we could probably table it.
Okay.
What does everyone else think?
Would this be something that the committee would be interested in looking at as something to do with food security so that if we could find land somewhere in the city that could possibly be explored as a food provider for seniors as well as residents?
Mhm. How does the community garden up top work? Those are individual plots, are they? That no one else can go into?
I don't have a lot of information on that, but we can certainly look into it and report back on that in the future.
Okay. Okay, thank you. 26th of July, 2021, I assume. Mrs. Ava Dean brought forward information on provincial services available for isolated seniors. The documents will be circulated to members to investigate which service options would benefit Merritt residents. The committee suggested that the men's shed would be beneficial for elderly men who wish to continue power tool hobbies as they downsize their living arrangements. I know nothing about a men's shed. I know nothing about this program whatsoever. Alex?
Place lately, our community services team was just actually brainstorming some ways to bring some of these programs in. Exploring some grants as well as some food security grants that will kind of tie into that garden piece too.
Perfect. So can you update us maybe for the next meeting
Yeah.
on the progress?
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you. Any other discussions on this one? Gail?
I just want to say that I didn't know what it was either until I went on, looked it up this morning. So there are grants available. It was, if you go on the website, there's grants available and, but I think that they probably need a sponsor too. And I was thinking maybe one of the community clubs like the Rotary or something like that might want to take something like that on, right?
Space to woodwork and have those power tools is our biggest challenge. So we're definitely just starting to look into it, but
What about utilizing MSS? Gail?
I was going to say is I know that they're having a struggle getting substitute teachers for the shops, right? And if they can't get a substitute that has training in there with tools, they've shut it down, right? So I'm thinking maybe that's an opportunity for some of the seniors to be involved, right? And that is to, if we can coordinate that, maybe that's something to think about.
I don't know if they have to go through criminal checks and
Oh, I'm sure they
and all
do.
that.
Sure
It
they do.
could be a can of worms, but we could look into that
not
to
that-
see what the logistics to involve them.
Yeah.
Might be a good idea. 4.1, ensure events are held in venues that adhere to accessibility standards. Establishment of a festival society, which includes a member of the Age Friendly and Accessibility Committee, could bring an accessibility lens to the planning process. No update on this. Does anybody have any information on this? No. So Lynn, how would we go about, this again is a very broad statement to make in that all of the events that would be held in Merritt, we have to, try and make sure they're age friendly and accessibility. If they're outdoor events, really, there's not much to do. No.
Thank you, Your Chair. How we would go about this, I'm not 100% certain at this point. It is very broad, as you say. There are lots of events that happen here in the city. A lot of them happen out at the rodeo grounds and throughout the city as well. We could certainly investigate what we can do if people are approaching the city in regards to permits for use of different city facilities and just encourage them to be aware of diversity of attendees. So that's one way that we could do it. I don't know if Alex, if you have any suggestions from your lens.
no, not more than what you have just said, I think, but I definitely will do some brainstorming.
See, on some of this, like, we already know our areas, I hope, age friendly and accessible. I think the rodeo grounds has addressed that situation. Maybe we just have to look at where other functions are held and just do a quick check on if they have wheelchair accessible, etc. And the visibility does become a different problem because it has its own can of worms.
There is,
Are you still on?
sorry, there is our civic center is fully accessible. So any events that would be held there would be naturally accessible with the increased use of the airport for events. Aside from just an airport use, that's something that we can certainly look at and just kind of highlight as we move forward with planning and assisting people who are planning those events in those places.
What about the arena and the pool?
They're both fully accessible as well. You can get into both bodies of water. If you are in a wheelchair, the arena has an elevator. Yeah, I think all of our facilities are, I mean, there's definitely room for improvement as most facilities are aging, but.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, but that's a start. Gail?
Do we have a festival society established? I thought that they just did that this year, didn't they not? And did they not put on the Oktoberfest?
No, that was private.
Was that?
That was private, yeah.
Yes,
So it's also the festival society that they advertised as a private one.
I think so.
Okay.
Don't quote me. Okay, moving on to 4.3, partner with local professionals and students to develop senior-based affordable social programs. Suggestions included. Nil. Bring the First Nation population into the process as they have valuable contributions that can be made. Opportunity to further expand some of the offerings in the recreation guides and provide the programs through city facilities led by other organizations to keep the costs down. Senior Center needs upgrading to. Be on the next page. To build on its current mandate, parking would also be addressed. Reach out to the fitness center, seek community and arts council to provide programs to seniors. I know parking was an issue that has been brought up by the seniors, that there are a lot of people parking in the designated parking lot. I don't know the status on that. I'm not too sure. Does anybody have any comments on this one? We could reach out to, would working with CNA now be the logical step when we want to get all of the bands at once? Or would we better to go with each individual band if we wanted to get something for seniors? You know, on that?
Does have all the bands, I believe, except for LNIB. It doesn't fall under their branch sometimes, from my understanding, but yes, CNA would be a good I have reached out to CNA personally. Sometimes you don't always hear back and go at each individual band too.
Okay. So I don't think anything has happened. Do we want to pursue this one in contacting the First Nations and to see what they have for seniors and see if we can coordinate their programs with our programs?
Is that something you want to do?
Ashton?
Just speaking from experience, Schwacom has a lot of programs for the First Nations in the
Mhm.
community, so it might be worth it to reach out to Schwacom as well.
Okay. Thank you for that. Well, I don't know anything about this one. CFDC/NV Chamber of Commerce to, or be encouraged to organize a convention spotlighting public services to seniors fair at the Civic Center. Do we have a seniors fair at the Civic Center?
Not to my knowledge anymore anyways. I could do some taking and see the last time we hosted one.
Does this want to be pursued or do we just cross this one off? Any comments? Gail?
Just wondering if this is something that we could do for Seniors Day.
Oh,
I think if we put on something like that at Civic Center.
so push this one over to the Seniors Day.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Yeah, good. Any other discussions? 4.4, establish educational programs for service providers to learn more about geriatric care. The committee suggested this action item would dovetail well into the annual health fair. Do we have an annual health fair?
Just a lot of different fairs at the Civic Center, health fair particular, I can't recall, but again, I could look in to see exactly what
Okay.
fairs are.
This again would go into the to Seniors Day. That could also be information that we could put into the Seniors Day. Okay. Any other discussions? 3.2, promote the creation of new affordable housing units or innovative housing forms through incentives. Well, I think right now the city is pretty well working on that. Linda?
The city is currently conducting a housing needs assessment.
Mhm.
That'll be coming forward and we have a housing director and a whole new envelope underneath her that would be addressing this sort of thing.
So can that information be put into the update then? 'Cause we don't
There-
have an update on that, so maybe we could just put down what Holly's position is and basically what she's working on.
We
Okay.
certainly can.
So we can update 3.2. Good. Any other discussions? 3.4, provide assistance for home renovation and adaptation through grants. There is a federal program providing a grant for a home energy efficiency report and low interest loans to complete identified adaptations. Tax incentives are available for the completion of adaptation renovations. The city will be implementing the STEP program later this year as a provincial requirement. The building bylaw will be dovetailed with this update. I don't know if these federal grants are still, I don't know when this was written. So I'm not too sure about the federal grants.
That's something that we would need to look into. I know the STEP programs have already been implemented. Or that was quite a number of years ago that came into effect.
Mhm. Yes, the code for energy efficient. So can you provide more information for an update on this, Linda?
Yeah, this may also fall into part of the housing envelope. I know there's a lot
Okay.
of different programs that were being looked at and being considered under that.
Okay,
So some of these things, not necessarily specific for seniors, but maybe for improving other aspects in the community to increase housing options. Everything is being looked at, so it'll fall into that report.
perfect. Thank you. Any other discussions? Ashley?
I can speak to this. My neighbor actually just received a retrofit for a more accessible bathroom within his home, and he did it through a grant. Now, I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but they came in a full day and retrofitted his bathroom for him to make it more accessible for him and his wife. And this was just last week that they had that done.
Perfect.
Yeah. We'll see if
Perfect.
I can get some details as well.
So maybe you could get some information from him and we could
Absolutely,
update on
yeah.
that too?
He said it was a very easy process for him as well, so.
Okay, yeah, because that's a lot of times it's not an easy process. Any other discussions? 3.5, create and distribute an aging in place checklist. Options will be presented at the next committee meeting. So I don't know what this one was. Actually, a good contact to this would be Kelly. I think because Kelly does that aging in place. So maybe we could contact her and see if she could update and give us some information for this.
If I remember correctly, there was one that was available already. I think it was through a provincial entity. So that was what we have been looking at that point in time. This was a few years ago.
Okay, great. So that one can be updated then. Any other discussions on that topic? 3.6, promote the conversion of unoccupied space above shops into housing units. The official community plan has created mixed-use zoning which addresses this action item. Well, all of our zoning has all been updated, and I think again, this would fall under our housing personnel. So that can be for Holly.
I believe this also fell underneath the OCP as well.
Mhm.
And then that was adopted in 2022.
Perfect. Any discussions? 3.7, incentivize the creation of mixed-use developments. The tax revitalization policy can be revamped to target residential redevelopment. Again, I think this already falls under what we have been doing. So I don't think we need to spend too much time on that one. 3.8, consider partnerships with NVIT for affordable maintenance and renovation services. Better at home programs include general maintenance such as painting or changing light bulbs on a volunteer basis. Ms. Dean volunteered to speak with NVIT to encourage the establishment of a program to provide general maintenance to seniors and the disabled in the city. So on October 31 of this year, Better at Homes does not have a specific program for general maintenance. However, If a friendly visit is taking place and the senior requests assistance with something that the volunteer deems safe and is comfortable to support with, there's a possibility of support that way. It was noted that the provider of a service and a local association should be two who partner on such a program. The city can apply for funding where other partners are not available to apply for the grant. On September 27, 2021, NVIT is willing to include community projects for seniors in the curriculum as they fit within the program. Instructors make the final decision on suitability of projects. So there's an update on October 31. Better Homes Program Coordinator is working on preparing a list of community resources and businesses, including home-based and areas of expertise. If a senior needs gutters cleaned, to be able to refer seniors to call. Is Judith? She's not online. Is Kelly online? Kelly McDonald? Oh,
Sorry. Neither one of them have joined. I've got it up here and running and
okay,
I haven't seen a request to join yet.
okay, okay. So maybe we'll just have to wait to see the list of community resources and businesses that Judith comes up with, so we can discuss that next time that we meet. Does everyone agree with that one? Any other conversation on this topic? CO, do you have any? Okay. Oh, 1.3 pedestrian crossings. An improvement program is in place to create more audible crossings and signals. May 31, 2021, Nicola Avenue crosswalk timing was extended. Section 4.4 of the Merit Active Transportation Plan. Review and update pedestrian crossing times at intersections to provide adequate crossing time for all users. This includes reviewing signal phasing and considering the needs of all users, including those with reduced mobility. Do we have an update on what the city has done?
I will absolutely get an update on this from our Director of Public Works and Engineering Services to see what we have done. I know
Okay,
that
'cause
there
I-
was talks in the works.
Yeah, because I know since 2021, we've had the flashing light by the post office. And there's somewhere else where it's. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's always been on Nicola down by, yeah. The big one, yeah. But any new ones I know. Isn't there another one? I'm not too sure. Okay, yeah, that's. Okay, yeah, so those have been new additions since 2021. So if we get an update on those, that would be good. 1.4 cycling infrastructure. The West Merit Active Transportation Plan grant application has been submitted to the province for creation of a circular path in the city. When the road is finalized, it will be brought forward for committee for review. Appendix D of the Merit Active Transportation Plan, Action 1.3, implement a complete and connected citywide cycling network for people of all ages and abilities through a phased implementation approach. So I know that the path, it's the West Transportation one that goes along Main, goes along Colchana, connects up to Coldwater Avenue. That is all being completed. I don't know any other parts of the transportation plan that have been done. You know, Linda?
I'm not aware of anything else that's been done at this time.
Okay. Okay, so maybe we could get an update from Public Works on that one? Thank you. Any other discussions?
The only thing I wanted to bring up, and maybe should leave it for another meeting, I'm not sure, but there's been a lot of concern about speeding with e-bikes on those trails and there's conflict between pedestrians and motorized vehicles, I guess, right? So I think that's something we have to look at and address. Now, I don't know if we want to do that today or if we should leave that and just make a note to get through the rest of this and talk about this next time.
Yeah, I think one thing we have to look at is what was the vision of the active transportation plan? Does it include electric bikes, scooters, et cetera?
It does have a bicycle and like, you know, it's painted right on it, right? Bicycle
Mhm.
and walking. So it doesn't say no e-bikes. It doesn't say any of that. It just
Mhm.
says,
Because
Bikes.
most of them, like if you go down the coast, they all include the scooters, you know, the electric bikes, rollerblades, that's right. So what it really comes down to is a consideration of the individual users.
yeah. So
And so that's maybe some, we have to have an educational program maybe for
that's,
that.
I agree with that. I also
So,
think I'm wondering about speed limits. I'm also thinking, because in some communities, what they have is and I've looked at the path, it's wide enough to have a line down the middle and have it printed on one side that's for pedestrians, the other side is for bicycles or whatever.
Mhm.
You're not saying that you have to stay in those lanes, but at least you know where to go if you're confronted. So you go there, you go, okay, I'll move over here, they'll pass me.
okay,
But right now it's becoming
it's
dangerous.
free for all.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe we could look into Public Works and what their vision, oh, is Kelly joining us? Perfect. Kelly, welcome. Can you hear us, Kelly?
Sorry, everybody. Technical difficulties, my fault. Sorry to be late. Thank you.
No problem. We're just on cycling infrastructure.
Okay.
And having a discussion with electric scooters, bicycles, et cetera, and the speed they're going on the active transportation paths. So we're going to pass this one over to Public Works for them to give us more information. Any other discussions on that? Do you have any input on that, Kelly? Do I have to push a button for her?
No, gosh, I'm so sorry. This is why we don't do remote when we're offsite. I actually have an awful lot of information on e-scooters that I'd be happy to share with the city. City of Kelowna was the first community to do a pilot program 3 years ago now, and Interior Health has written 2 reports on the health impact of e-scooters and can share some best practices for the city to consider in terms of policies to protect people from injuries and decrease the health risks associated with riding e-scooters. So happy to share those with Linda or with you, Councillor Charney, however best to get that information in your hands, because e-scooters can be really cool and they also can cause a lot of injuries.
Yep. I think the information to CO would be the best.
Okay.
And that's great. Thanks for that input. Thank you. Any other discussions on this? Okay, 1.5. Parks, pathways, and open space connections provide better access to open spaces and park areas, increase the park areas, and improve path networks. Appendix D of the Merit Active Transportation Plan 1.2, implement a complete and connected citywide pedestrian network through a phased implementation approach. I know that is the goal. We are working towards that, but I am, correct me if I'm wrong, CO, but I am pretty sure this is all grant money that we need for that.
I can't say for certain. That would be our Director of Public Works that would be able to confirm that. We would certainly be able to look for grants for this sort of activities. I'm not quite sure what he has in his budget in regards to these items as well.
Okay, so, could you, contact, Mr. Green and then see if there are grants that they can apply for? And if there are, would they apply for it? I guess we have to go through our grant writer then.
We would go through the grant process
Okay.
if there are grants available
Okay.
for this, yes.
Okay, that would be good. Any other, information from anyone? No? Okay, moving on, 1.6, intersection connections. Widen corner letdowns to improve alignment with crosswalks. Ensure that snowplows do not leave sidewalks and alleyway crossings blocked when clearing roads. Remove snow and ice in a timely and regular manner from letdowns. Okay, yeah, this is, I think Mr. Green is really trying to get this improved, and Public Works is working on this. So we'll give them time to see how what happens this year. And but I think they're very aware of some of the situations with snow and ice, and I think that they are trying to address the situation. Gail?
The one thing that I was wanting to ask about is I noticed that the handicap parking downtown, like in the 2000 block, the two handicap parking spots, one on either side of the street,
Where is that?
in front of Fields, and
Okay.
the other one in front of Blacks. They have an extra spot so that and a letdown, so that when whoever is getting out can go over to that and find access onto the sidewalk. But there isn't anywhere else. And I'm assuming that this is something that's an ongoing and that they're going to be doing as they can afford it, so that the other spots that are in the city will be also having a letdown right now you can't get on the sidewalk if you have a walker. So, because there's no letdown for those handicap parking spots. So I'm just wondering if it's in the works, that's an ongoing thing.
I'm gonna defer to
Public
our
Works.
Director of Public Works. He would know all of this. I know we are looking at parking in the downtown area in the next few years, just as a review of where the signage is for parking, et cetera. And so that, I believe, may be in the plans for the next couple of years.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's a good point, because I was just thinking now at the post office, there is the one spot, but there's probably no letdown. So then that means you still have to go all the way around too. Larry, do you know if there's a letdown at the handicap? There's no? No? Okay. Okay, so maybe that's something that we can talk with Public Works on. Okay. Any other discussions? Okay, moving on to 1.7, rest areas. Create an inventory of street infrastructure and identify areas of deficiency. Promote a bench dedication program to increase seating infrastructure. Consider incorporating seating in the proposed active transportation plan section between Diamondville and the city center. Increase the number of benches at bus stops. I know that there is policy review, and the city has been looking at memorial benches. So that is something that the city is looking at.
Memorial bench program.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were just updating it in policy review. So I think the encouragement to get more benches. I'm not too sure who paid for the benches all the way up Vote Street. Was that through our? Do you know, Linda?
The Vote Street were part of the upgrade to that.
Okay.
So that would have been part of the funding for that program.
Yeah, I do know that the benches are very expensive, and sometimes we run into issues with the benches in town, but maybe we could talk to Public Works and see if more benches on the active transportation plan could be installed. Yeah.
When this was, I think when this was created, we were looking at it at the time, the bus stops there was only a couple that had benches and none of the others did. And there wasn't very many benches around town, but since then that has changed a lot.
Mhm.
And there's many benches. So I think that we're meeting those goals, right? And that's an ongoing thing.
Well, I haven't seen the final plan, but I know on Coshana Avenue along the active transportation plan there is a plan for gardens and benches along that stretch. It just hasn't come into play yet, but I know that that is planned. See?
I was just thinking that this may be something that the committee can think about incorporating into a revised update of this plan as a larger policy for seniors and for incorporating this sort of thing, these kinds of requests. This list that was from 2016 was very specific for items that could be done. As we're moving forward, the committee can be considering creating larger policies for council to approve and adopt that have these sorts of lenses included with them.
Perfect. Perfect.
Don't know if Kelly has anything. Yes, Kelly may have something to add to this as well.
Kelly?
Oh, and then thumbs down. My gosh, guys, so sorry. This is so weird. Yeah, just was thinking, I think that was Linda that was just talking. And Linda, that's sort of what I was thinking was moving beyond. I think it's so wonderful that folks in the room have those specific areas that they're thinking about that need improvements, and that the city is looking at opportunities to try and action those specifics. But I think beyond that, it feels like there is some opportunities here to do as Linda says, to look to the future a little bit around, is there policy language that says anytime a new sidewalks is poured in Merritt, we look at letdowns? Anytime we're looking at revising our active transportation plan, or we're looking for funding that will incorporate benches into any, engineering drawings that are happening around. I just think that the today's actions are wonderful, but moving forward, having an idea for what you want the community to look like, and can we draw inspiration from some of these today's actions for more planning and policy specific stuff to go into the updated plan. So Linda, you absolutely said what I was hoping to say as well. So thanks.
Okay, thanks, Kelly. Linda?
I think there will be an opportunity, especially during this meeting, as we are moving forward with our accessibility plan and the review. Possibly the next item, 5.1, will help inform that as well and help us build on all of this too.
Great, thank you. Okay. 1.9, branding. Develop an age-friendly branding package to identify businesses which have implemented age-friendly initiatives. Research current initiatives in other communities, consider incentives for promoting such as GIS mapping, digital or physical stickers, or business license discounts. The discounts. I really don't know how we would go about asking. I guess we could send something out to all the business to see if what they are doing for age friendly.
At this plan that we're kind of going through and looking at things that the committee has done in the past and looked at in the past from the 2016 plan, we're looking to update this plan. So some of the things that were recommended in 2016 may not be current best practices. They may not be practical at this point. That's something that we can consider as we're going forward, is just keeping in mind that this was a 2016 plan. We're looking to update our plan. We're looking to move forward and create something a bit different.
Yeah.
Well, I know that there's grants available, and there's also through the Rick Hansen Foundation that there's a accessibility certification program and awards given through the Rick Hansen Foundation. So that's maybe something we should look at. I mean, we don't need to reinvent something if it's already there. And maybe we can implement something from there and implement some of those requirements for businesses, like, push button and doors that open, things like that. Implement that into the building code. Maybe that can be something that we can come up with, right?
At that in the past, for any existing businesses, we can't necessarily go back and make requirements for new buildings as they're being built. That's when there's the opportunity to implement all the rules and regulations that are in the building code. In regards for branding, what we can certainly do through our communications department is we can include in our city page the awareness, and we can highlight. So we do have a bit of opportunity through our communications department and our city page to highlight that these opportunities are out there and just promote awareness as part of a plan as we move forward.
I think that's an excellent idea. And this could also be brought into the seniors day for the businesses. We could, letting them be aware of some of the hurdles that some people encounter and, how can your business accommodate some of these things? So we could do the twofold that way. Okay. Kelly, any input on that one? Kelly? As
Guys, I have thanks, Councillor Charney. I have a question, and I think what I keep hearing coming up is, or what I've noticed is there was this plan, there was these actions, and some of them are really tied to existing staff. If we think about Mr. Green and part of the infrastructure and those kinds of things, public works. But some of these other things either rely on partners like the business community or rely on the community to get on board with it, but also need someone internally to be driving this work. And I think that maybe some of the actions that haven't come to fruition as much as the ones around, say, curb cuts or sidewalk letdowns is because there hasn't been someone attached to this work. Thinking about Merritt as a pretty small municipality, resources are at a premium. So I think one of the things I want the group to think about is that how do these things get done? Like, how are they being actioned? Who actions them? And is that something that we need to be thinking about as a group when we're thinking about these policies and these actions? Having ideas is wonderful. And I don't think you should ever limit yourself on future actions by what you can do right now. But I do think that in the plan, we have to be thinking about how stuff gets done, the logistics behind it. So I guess for me, when I'm thinking about this upcoming planning work, it's around who and how. Yes, there is funding, but is there any policy, is there any planning that talks about ensuring the city looks for those kinds of grants? Are they prioritizing those kind of grants? Are they prioritizing that kind of work? So I'm just kind of getting my juices flowing a little bit around how do these cool ideas get actioned in the future? And what do we need to put in place to see them move forward?
okay,
That's something that I'm thinking about for the plan and the policy.
that's good. I think we have mentioned on some who would follow up on some of these actions. But that's an excellent idea. Any other discussions? Okay, 1.10, commercial retail renovations. Research a cost-effective means of installing automatic door openers and possible grants for installation by businesses. This would be something that the city could help promote. Installation of grant applications must be completed by businesses or building owners. Encourage outside seating areas as part of a larger program and incentives for businesses to get involved in improving accessibility. Create a pamphlet for businesses to highlight the benefits of creating accessible locations. Consider adopting a bylaw requiring building owners to install automatic door openers. I think some of that's a little pie in the sky on some of this. I don't think that we could require businesses to install automatic openers. I think that that's a little bit much. But again, I think this follows under our education and information that we can pass on to businesses through our Seniors Day, through the website and on the newspaper, that we could start educating business owners to try and make their businesses more accessible and friendly. So I think that's where a lot of that falls under. Seating areas as part of a larger program, incentives. Again, the seating areas, you have to be very careful with that because they create their own problems. Besides accommodating accessible situations. So we have to be careful what we ask of our business owners. Any other discussions on this? Larry, you want to push your button, Larry? There you go.
Find like Black's Pharmacy, and I was at the dentist today. They have no buttons. You just gotta push and somebody will come to the door. The banks, oh yeah, the banks, and even the eye doctor have an actual button that will swing the door open for you. Doesn't
Perfect.
necessarily have to be an expensive button for opening the door. Even if you got a little bell that works, somebody will come and open the door for you.
Mhm.
And it feels the same way. Feels not a very busy store at times to be there. You sit there forever. I usually gotta ask somebody that's going by to open the door for me. Not very often, but if I do, that's how you get in there.
Mhm. Well, again, that could fall under our educational program, you know, and making those type of situations, the
I
business owners.
suggested that a few times to the girls.
Yeah.
They just work there. They don't really, oh yeah, we'll mark it down.
Yep. Okay,
So still mark it down.
okay, thank you. Gail, did you have anything? Kelly, did you have anything? Okay, 1.11, promote commercial activity in the evenings. Incentive is in line with economic initiatives for open accessible businesses. Council is reviewing the OCP to facilitate mixed use in the downtown core, which would assist in revitalizing the downtown core area. During COVID, the local restaurants were encouraged to build on-street patio spaces and parking spots. I think some of this is being covered with our Friday night markets. And I think there was Wednesday, is there a Wednesday night market? See,
Thank you. Yes, there is Friday night markets in the downtown core as well as Wednesday night markets. And then
Mhm.
on Saturdays, we've got the farmers market.
right.
So there is a number of activities that are bringing people into the community, into
Yeah.
the downtown
That-
core.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's been addressed and I think that there's been a lot more participation in the markets and more people coming out. So I think that one has been addressed. Any questions on that? Any more input? Elder abuse and seniors advocacy on reserve land. I don't want to get onto that one. I don't think that is the purview of this committee. So we'll pass on that one.
The only thing I wanted to talk about was the seniors advocacy. I noticed that with the Office of the Seniors Advocate, BC office, that there's opportunity for individuals from each community to be an advisor, right? Senior advisor. So and join that because I think that's a really good organization. I mean, I'm sure you're aware of it. So I'm wondering if that's something that we shouldn't be promoting, is to have somebody be on that advisory board. And it's also an advisory for anybody that wants help too, right?
Mhm.
They can get,
Are you volunteering?
no, not yet.
Is there anyone here that would like to volunteer? Yeah, maybe we can look into that, find someone for that. Okay, so on the next page, 1.1, implement a voluntary snow removal program, Snow Angels, as incentive for able-bodied residents to help others in clearing snow. Program operated for 2 years with paid contractor has now ceased due to lack of funds. Investigation into 2024 for implementation of volunteer program was not well received. I know that there is a problem with that because I'm not too sure if it's required that they have criminal records checks, but I know from many, many years ago, probably Gail was the only one that would remember that we did have a problem with a senior where some youth helped out and it did not end very well. So I know that you kind of have to have something that's well organized and official. You can't just set up something. I'm not too sure if Better at Homes is continuing their program or trying to get volunteers.
Sorry, I don't know how to raise my hand, guys. I'm so sorry. Judy had sent Ashlyn a package that actually talks about their Better at Home programs, that they do have the Snow Angels. So I think that's something Better at Home's update could really feed into, sort of an update on the action plan. And again, sorry, Councillor Charney, to interrupt
Yeah.
you there.
No, the Snow Angels program was disbanded. Yeah. Yeah.
So what the city had, just if I could jump in here.
Yep, go ahead.
What the city did have was we were very fortunate a couple of years ago to have a funding through a grant of $10,000 that we were able to pair with a Better at Homes grant. They provided $27,000, I think. For 2 years, we were able to run a program where seniors and those who were disabled and owned their own home were able to, in a limited capacity, up to the maximum of what the contractor could provide. We had a contractor that came in and cleared sidewalks, driveways, walkways, stairs for seniors and those who were disabled. And unfortunately, the funding for that program has run out, and Better at Home is not continuing with a paid contractor, as well as the contractor that we did have hired. He has since closed business here in the city of Merritt, and there is no further funding for this. So Better at Home last year, they did advise that they were no longer continuing with the paid program with a paid contractor. And the city of Merritt is not able to continue with that because we do not have funding for that either. We had reached out to a number of organizations within the community to see if there was any uptake. We had a small donation that we could, like up to $5,000, that we were willing to donate to the group if they were willing to commit to doing clearing of sidewalks. Unfortunately, we had no takers on that.
Okay. Yeah, so yeah, unfortunately, it's a program we just don't have anymore, and it's a program that is needed, but we just don't have it. Okay, completed. Public service directory. The local newspaper already runs one. Do they still run the directory? Seal?
Yes, there is annually a
Oh, annually.
a booklet
Okay.
that gets produced by the newspaper it's a public service directory. It's not senior specific, but it is all of the services that are available here in the city of Merritt.
Okay, perfect. Locate child-minded facilities within the seniors' facilities. The committee determined it was best left to facility coordinators to determine the individual needs of facilities. Increase participation of aging residents on committees. The committee determined this has been accomplished through the establishment of the Age-Friendly and Accessibility Committee. Is there any discussion on this one of how we can encourage seniors to get out? No, no. Yeah, it's hard because, volunteering in general is going down, and, yeah. So, and I think that the seniors just want to be left alone. Okay, action, set up a template, develop the scope of projects. I don't know what to comment on that one. Any comments on this one? Okay, lobby for subsidized assisted living in Merritt. Right. BC Housing has partnered with Merritt in this process. There have been successes and a variety of options will be coming forward. I think BC Housing has done a lot. We do have, I'm not too sure if this is from the original 216 and not updated, but we do have much more housing for seniors and for lower income. So I think that's been addressed, and now that we have the big complex going up by No Frills, I think that we are addressing a lot of that with assisted living. And also the city has their green, what is it called? Evergreen program that will eventually try and get affordable housing. Sale of our trailers and towards.
Any any housing program would fall under the purview of our Director of Housing.
Mhm.
And then that is part of an ongoing project that we are working.
Okay. Okay. Accessible taxi service, program Merit does not have a handy dart service, but does have an on-demand system. So the transit system, they do not have a wheelchair assist in there, do they? That comes down, do they have the ramp? Okay. Okay, so we currently have, is it Handy Dart or is it just the transit? Because Handy Dart is specific. Seal.
So the City of Merritt does not have a handy dart service.
Okay.
That's not available here in the city. What we did look into at one point was to see if fare savers for a taxi service could be implemented. Upon further investigation, that's not something that can be supported here in the City of Merritt. It was something that the committee had raised as the model that's being used in Summerland. That's not one that's transferable to the City of Merritt. What we do have in the City of Merritt is that residents who need door to curb service can book that through the Transit Society. And then there is a bus that will come around and pick everyone, that will pick people up and deliver them right to where they need to be.
Yes, yes, I knew that one. Okay.
Gail?
Linda, why wasn't that taxi saver program, why couldn't we implement it?
I'd have to look back at the report, but there were, it was financial constraints. It was not something that was supported here in the City of Merritt, through TransLink or through the City of Merritt. The cost would actually be borne by the city.
Any further discussion on that one? Okay, so that's finishes the tracker. So we do have some updates on that. So maybe next time we meet, we'll have some more information on those. Number 5, new business, 5.1 BC Healthy Communities Plan H Healthy Committees Grant Announcement. Who's going for that one? Seal.
Thank you. So I'm happy to announce the City of Merritt has been successful in an application for the BC Healthy Communities Plan H grant. And so we've received $15,000. I think Kelly can help me speak to this as well, but the city has received $15,000 that we can use towards a robust engagement process for the updating of our age-friendly and accessibility plan.
So it's, for the updating of our plan, there's nothing physical involved in this. It's strictly all paperwork and things like that.
We can use this for a variety of options for hosting events, to engage members of the community, to provide feedback into our plan, for helping to develop our plan, bringing in a consultant to help with that. We can also help. It will also help us create the plan, the physical plan afterwards as well.
That's perfect because that'll fit into the tracker and we can update a lot of those things in the tracker and find avenues to get them done. Kelly?
There is also funding additionally from Plan H. So there is this healthy policy part of the age-friendly planning that I think the City of Merritt is going to use it to update the plan, to incorporate this accessibility lens, update the 2016 plan. So there's follow-up funding that can be applied for next year for more project-based. So I think when we're thinking about doing the plan, kind of earmarking some projects, having that funding in mind. So there is sort of this succession planning that goes on in the Healthy Communities, BC Healthy Communities Plan H funding. Do the plan and then support it financially to action it as well. So that's really good news. If you get the planning grant, you have a better chance of getting the project grant next. So just something to think about for next year as well.
That's excellent. So actually when we could use this plan to steer into what we want done so that all the T's are crossed and I's are dotted so that when it comes to the next grant, we have everything in place to get the project funding. So that's excellent. Thank you. Accessibility plan preliminary information. So
This
you,
is Kelly.
Kelly? Do you have information on the accessibility plan preliminary information?
I think what this is, Linda, correct me if I'm wrong. I did a review of a few
Yes.
different communities. Okay, great. I did a review. And you guys have those documents and they're color coded a little bit, but I reviewed the City of Kamloops accessibility plan, and then I reviewed the City of Merritt's age friendly and dementia friendly plan. And what I did is I sort of compared them, or showed, I looked at what City of Merritt had planned in the 2016 plan. And then I compared it to what the brand new City of Kamloops accessibility plan and the City of Vernon's brand new plans were, just to support the group. Not necessarily that I think exactly you could pull from these plans and put into the City of Merritt's plan, but that they're interesting things to think about in, I think, two really well done plans. City of Kamloops accessibility plan, I would put as one of the top plans in BC. And Vernon's approach with the dementia friendly aspect is the first of its kind. So I took aspects from the City of Merritt's plan, that from the age friendly plan, that would help meet the legislative requirements for the accessibility component. And then I compared it to the City of Kamloops and the City of Vernon's, just for inspiration for this group to think about. Adding that accessibility component to the age friendly component so that we meet those legislative requirements. And then I just highlighted that some of the legislative requirements around the accessibility plans include education and procurement. And those are a couple things that aren't necessarily already in your age friendly plan that we might want to think about. And then at the very end of that document, I put in a little bit around evaluation. And I think that, Councillor Charney, you were the one who talked about before, or maybe it was Cynthia, that said like a plan that sits on the shelf is no good. So actioning plans was important, but evaluating those actions and evaluating the useful, like how much you're doing, what's working, what's not working, is also a really important part of that planning. So I also included some actions at the bottom that this group could consider around evaluation and adding that into the new age friendly and accessibility plan. So really more for inspiration and things for the group to think about, just have an idea of what other communities are doing in this area.
Okay, thank you. That's great. And I agree with that. You know, we have a lot of studies that get shelved and nothing transpires. So it'd be really great once we get this communities grant and we have a vision, and then we can hopefully the next year put that vision into practice. I think that's the whole goal of this committee is to see actionable plans, not just discussion, but things carried out. What do we need to make our town more accessible and age friendly? So this is really important, this grant here, and then gearing it towards how we will then make our projects real in so it's not just talk. Seal.
And that's definitely part of the role of this committee, is to help create the vision of what you would like to see, and then as well go out into the community and gather input and seek input from members of the community to help inform the plan that the city eventually develops and that you help develop. We have to create an update and create a draft plan. We also have to implement a feedback tool. That's something that we don't currently have in place that we do need to legislatively implement. So that's a tool for anyone in the community to be able to let the city know what sort of barriers, and this can be any kind of barrier, and let us know about it so that we can action it and address those problems.
Maybe this is not correct, but you know, when we have an open house or anything like that, maybe we could include an age-friendly accessibility booth where we could talk about what is important to people that come in. How can we address some of these things? I mean, we talk about everything else, but we've never, I don't think, have had an age-friendly accessibility table or anything where people can come and sit down and talk about the barriers that they've encountered and how can we solve those problems. So maybe that's something too for we could consider for our next open house. It is considering that.
Yeah, and that's what we need to develop, is something that's an ongoing tool, so policy and a procedure for what it looks like going forward. And that's what we need you guys to help us develop.
Yep.
It can be a website, it can be surveys, it can be feedback cards, it can be making sure that there is something incorporated, a policy that says that into every event that the city puts on, we have this opportunity. And the $15,000 that we have this year, we can help incorporate and use that money to help develop this plan.
Perfect. Yeah, that's great because that's what we want. We want things done. So any other discussions on that? Does anybody have any other topics they would like to bring up that are not on the agenda? CO, do you have one? No? Okay, well, I'll call this committee to a termination.
Thank you, Chair. So we'll establish the next meeting date as Thursday, December 5th.
Thanks, everybody. Take care.
Bye.